Rome Kirby getting a bit of a ribbing from his crewmate there on board Team Brunel for that incredible scenes with the lightning. We will be speaking to that boat just a little bit later on. Plus, we're going to be hearing from Axon Abel, as well as taking a look at where the fleet are right now and the weather that's due to cause all sorts of movements that we know are coming up in this race all the way from Melbourne to Hong Kong. We are here in headquarters. This is where the race is beamed live to us. And just a few moments ago, Conrad Coleman caught up with Team Brunel to ask him about the lightning strike and what's happening out on the racecourse.
He was on deck, but luckily we haven't blown out any of the instruments. Could have easily been that everything was would have been gone. I've experienced it in the past, so in that sense we have been lucky. But it's always like one of these things: people standing barefooted in the cockpit, and you always wonder what will happen to you personally as well.
And so, what's your strategy now for chasing down the pack?
Well, we just keep following our own course. It looks like it's going to be really light. There's a lot of cloud action, so there's big course changes. You guys can probably follow it when you're live on. It's like big variations in courses just to get around the clouds and to try to keep the best breeze. And then, of course, just hope that we just sail faster than the other guys.
Can you explain how clouds change the wind?
Well, especially with thunderclouds, it's like a little low pressure system, and yeah, the wind turns around the low pressure system, so you can sail for a moment like with the breeze from behind, and you're sailing into the cloud, and then the breeze actually changes 180 degrees wind direction. So you might become going from sailing downwind, you might be going sailing upwind, and of course then you can't sail a direct course anymore. And then you're getting all these strange interactions in the course, in the route what you're following, and you might just change sometimes 80, 90, or maybe even 100 degrees in course. So you might just keep sailing the same direction, but with the wind coming completely from the opposite side.
Can you talk us through what you've got coming up ahead?
Well, it looks like the next two to 3 days is going to be a relatively light breeze. Breezes will vary from like a 120, and then once we basically going across the equator, then you're coming more in the northeast trade. But the forecast looks like that in 2 to 3 days we're having nice pressure, and we'll be fast sailing from then on.
Can you talk to us about your new crew and how you're gelling together, and what it's like to be sailing with new crew on every leg?
Well, I think it has been going remarkably well. Like this was a little bit an unforced change for 2 persons. But so in that sense it has been new, and especially I haven't been sailing with the guys who jumped last minute in. So, but I think it has been going remarkably well. They're all really good sailors.
And are you going to be able to hang on to these new folks for the rest of the race?
No, we're going to make some changes in Hong Kong again. Peter Burling, Louis Balkan, and we're going to give our boat captain a well-deserved break, because she has a little boy back home as well, and we always said you have to be at least one leg back home to look after the family, because that's of course one of the most, it's not the one, it's the most important thing in life.
Nice to hear, even coming from somebody who's spent more than half of his adult life at sea. Good luck out there, it sounds like you need it, and all the best, Bauer. Thank you for talking with us.
Okay, thank you, take care, bye.
Well, that's the latest from Bauer Becking and Team Brunel, but let's take a look at where the fleet are right now as leg 4 continues to get underway. It is 5,600 miles from Melbourne to Hong Kong, and the first corner mark, the Solomon Islands, is here, and let's have a look at what effect it's made. Sun Hunkai Scallywag struggling at the moment with Team Brunel just in front of them. Turn the tide on plastic, however, having a great race, sitting just behind Vestas 11th Hour Racing with Axon Abel in 3rd. Now the big hitters, the Spanish team, Mafre, are losing out for the moment to the Chinese-French team, Dongfeng Race Team. Now, the computer has had a little bit of a trouble working out who is in the lead. How exactly do you calculate it? Well, it goes pretty simply. It's all about who's closer to the finish line. And right now, Mafre have been sailing their way to the west. So the computer's very happy with them. But look at how much trouble those boats have been having with the clouds. And we know there is more weather to come. It is going to be a pretty long drag race all the way to Hong Kong, with some fantastic reaching conditions waiting for the teams as we start to approach the middle portion of this leg. It's going to be very tough, all sorts of peels, all sorts of tiny mode changes before we start seeing some big weather just off the Chinese coast before we get to the conclusion of this leg. And who better to explain it than navigator Simon Fisher on Vestas 11th Hour Racing.
Really what we're trying to do is balance out going fast north to make the trade winds versus trying to make progress down the course. And I guess the sort of risk reward is, you know, we can sail lower and you make better miles towards the finish, but the risk is if you sail lower you might meet the trade winds later, and the weather goes more aggressively north then gets the new wind first and disappears off. So yeah, really the thing we're weighing up at the moment is how far can we get down the course and how quickly, and versus how far we just have to keep struggling north just to try and meet the new wind. And it looks like there's a good expanse of pretty low wind, so set to continue for a while.
Well, thank you, Simon. But as usual, my job is to try and translate navigator speak into something that the rest of us can understand. So let's have a look at my telestrator here. What we're talking about, as always, is the doldrums, this horizontal barrier that is blocking the route. If we zoom in a little bit, we're going to see the challenging conditions that he was talking about. You can see that the route is up and off to the left, but also in this band of light winds, we've got a lot of disturbed and light winds over here on the left, but that's actually where they're trying to go. So that's what complicates the route for the navigators. You can sail 900 miles this way before you get into a solid 10 knots of pressure, or you can sail 500 miles directly north before you get into a solid 10 knots, and then maybe do a little dogleg. So zooming out, what I expect to see on the route in the coming days is these boats are going to struggle directly northwards through the worst of the doldrums and then get up to the solid pressure before finally making their route to Hong Kong. So tricky times to come. To get his take on it, we spoke with navigator Jules Salter on Axon Abel. Can you tell us a little bit about what it's been like to be sailing in such close contact with Dongfeng Racing and now the rest of the leaders?
It's been pretty good, really. Just the same old, but it's nice to have boats close around and be similar speed to them, or almost similar speed to them, and trying to get our settings right and sail choices at the correct time and stuff. So it's been pretty interesting and pretty useful for us to try and learn a few things about how we make our boat go a bit faster.
So clearly you're learning a lot out at sea, but what are the effects of that on the crew?
People maybe are a bit tired on day 2 or 3 out of Melbourne, but you get back into that rhythm pretty quickly, so maybe it helps in some ways that you're less time out of the rhythm and life on board just goes on and people get up and do their watches, or you look at the weather and make your food and just roll into it again. It's just ongoing.
Can you talk us about what life is like in the doldrums?
Yeah, well, so far it's not. The clouds actually haven't been too bad, but it is very light, so it's all about, you know, doing subtle things on the boat, not being too aggressive with any course changes, and trying to coax the best out of the sails we've got up, and keep the weight in the right place on the boat, and you know, get some rest when you can. It's a bit hot for getting really good sleep, but at least you can get some rest, because when you're on deck it requires 100% concentration. Everyone's really got to be onto it the whole time.
Can you talk us a little bit about what's coming up in the next couple of days?
North and into the northeast trades, so we're looking and trying to, you know, time ourselves when we get to the cloudy areas to hopefully pop through those bits okay, but a lot of that's luck of the draw on where you are. You've not got too much control over that. Yeah, so just trying to hang on to the other boats and keep pace with them, and everyone has their little turn where you get a bit of wind out of cloud or a bit of a light spot behind a cloud, and just trying to minimise the losses when you do get those, and hopefully keep close together, so when we get back in a bit more breeze we can all work a bit more on our boat speed and drag racing.
You've got countless reefs all around you. Can you tell us a little bit about what it's like to be prepping for this leg as a navigator?
So you've got a rough idea of the geography of the whole course and some notes from before, so kind of start looking at those, then you get the paper charts out and have a good look at those. And luckily I've got some great help on my team as well, with Axel Magdal and Roger Badham, the meteorologist and navigator who helped me do the prep, so they'll point out things to me which I might need to consider.
Well, thank you very much, Jules. Sounds like you've got a lot on, so I'll let you get back to it, but thanks for taking the time to have a chat.
Okay, cheers, Goran, thanks.
It's going to be a tough few days for Jules Salter and all the navigators on the fleet. Here in Volvo Ocean Race headquarters, we're going to be monitoring everything, and just to make sure that you have all the information up to the minute, fans of Vestas 11th Hour Racing will be very pleased to see that they, at the moment, have taken the lead. But it is going to be an incredibly intense next few days, 500 miles potentially before any of these teams start to see some really solid pressure. So stay with us as we bring you all the information that's unfolding here in the Volvo Ocean Race. We're going to have another quick fix in the morning and a daily live at 1300 UTC. We'll see you then.